Thanks for tuning in to That's What I Call Marketing, the Cannes Sessions. Brought to you by Freedman International, the international campaign experts taking the pain out of your multi-market campaigns. Welcome back to That's What I Call Marketing, the Cannes Sessions, and of course these sessions are being brought to you thanks to Freedman International, so really delighted to have them on board as partners, and I will be catching up with Kevin Freedman to find out what he has been up to today and yesterday at the Cannes Festival of Creativity. Lots to get through today, and I have had a busy day up and down the Croisette here. So I was at the Canva Cabana, I was down at Fernando Macedo's Lines Learning, I was in the theatre to see David Droga, and I have just been up to the Creators Rooftop where I met Lucy Gu from Passes. So lots to get through. First of all, we might start with some of the winners today here at Cannes. Creative Business Transformation Lines winners, and the Grand Prix is going to access 3 words in France in the insurance category, so you can win insurance categories. Creative Effectiveness Lines winner, and the Grand Prix is going by to Shot on iPhone by Apple iPhone TBWA in the US. The Luxury Lines winners, this may be no surprise, but LVMH won that one for the partnership that changed everything. Creative Strategy Lines winners, Dove winning that with Ogilvy in the UK. Congratulations to them. Brand Experience and Activation Lines winners, we get all these notes and I have to scan through them all here, sorry, is Caption with Intention, again winning another award. That's another Grand Prix for them. Everything's falling all over the place here at the Wind. Creative Commerce Lines winners, the Grand Prix there is going to Ziploc. Yes, those Ziploc bags, they won a Grand Prix. And finally, the Innovation winners is going to Museum for the United Nations, UN Live, Spotify in Denmark. Of course, there were some more wins for the Irish crew. So Heineken winning again, picking up a silver for their campaign Pub Succession. So congratulations to Heineken. I'll hopefully catch up with Fiona Curtin later on if I can track her down here at Cannes. So first up today is not a conversation because I didn't get to meet him, but I was in the theatre with the same room as David Droga basically, and he was reflecting on his career. Obviously he's stepping down as CEO of Accenture Song, and a time for him to, I guess, reflect on some of the work and his journey. So I've got some snippets from that session.
Really it always struck me from the very first day when I was hired to be a creative. So I won a thing called the Wood School in Australia when I was 18, Australian Writers and Artists. And when I got my first job to be a creative and looking at a layout pad, I was so blown away that I was being paid to use my imagination. And it sort of was like a gift, you know what I mean? And I just have held on to that all the way. But at the same time, I never wanted to be an advertising person. I just wanted to be someone who used my imagination to connect with the problem solving. But I was quite annoyed with the barriers of advertising, so I was always trying to break it and test the limits of it. As I said, there was no big convoluted plan, and I realised that it was something I was pretty good at, and I seemed to be pretty good at working with a lot of great people. So I just always leaned into it, but I also threw myself into challenges because, you know, I'm very worried about being comfortable. So I was lucky I had a lot of success in Australia early. But then there was another challenge, which was Asia, which was, everyone said, don't go to Asia, you know, it's where you go to retire. Funny saying that now, but that's why I said I have to go there and prove that a young guy can come here and give a shit and try and do something and learn. And I learned a lot there, but then when I moved to London, same thing, I always stepped into something that made me nervous, but had something to prove, and that's probably because I've got 4 older brothers, you know, and I was always trying to prove my worth. You know, if I had a therapist would be able to answer this question better than me. But it was a culmination of, I'm restless, like every great creative is, and there's no expiration date on building or being creative. and I just love it. And that appreciation of it. The only way to show appreciation for something is to do something more with it. And I've always held on to that. I want to make work that I want to make. And in a market where I thought, I don't have to be for everybody. It's big enough that I can just be for somebody. I just want to make work that I love and is proud, that sort of stretches the parameters and confines of advertising. And even though this is the second one, the first project I'll talk about later, but the second one, which was Echo. And when we did this, and it was just, 3 or 4 of us, there was myself, Sally, the producer, Duncan, the creative, we worked with Smuggler, who had just started as well, Patrick and Brian, and there was a copywriter called Jesse as well. So we just sort of all collaborated making great stuff. But this was the very first case study that was ever entered into Cannes. So you can hate me, because I created the case study arms race that everyone is obsessed by. But I wasn't trying to do that, okay?
This was a long case study.
This was a long one, it was 5 minutes. I think they even changed the rules about case studies after Droga fired, because I couldn't explain what we did. There was nothing to submit, because Cannes was just, you submit a film or a printout of it, and we did something which was about exploiting the media and making something viral, and YouTube was just starting. So the only thing we could do was create a case study to explain it to people. So I apologise. Belief system to this day has always been, if I think an idea is the right thing, for the right audience, the right time and context, the sorting out how to do it is the easy part. Do you know what I mean? And for me, to be 3 or 4 of us trying to rent a 747 and paint it, and at the time when we're told we're breaking the page with that and all that, I'm like, I don't give a shit, it's the right thing for the right audience. And we're going to use lazy 24-hour media. They're going to help us because they want content. And so it just was putting things in context that was right for his audience and all that.
And thinking about what the reaction would be too was,
when you get a brief, and it doesn't have to be something irreverent or sort of gritty like that, it could be the most noble thing ever. But you start with what you want the end reaction to be, then that gives you more opportunity to know what to create. Like if you want the reaction to be, I want to blow up the internet and I want people to be against it, to realise that we punked the man, or I want the news media to propel this, or I want start with the reaction, because we live in an era now, more so now than ever. People's participation in your idea is part of the idea. And so this sort of set precedence for us. And it was a wonderful thing to start an agency on that, to be honest, because, it set a precedent. It also, we got a titanium and a Grand Prix first out the gate, but it was more importantly, it just made us as a starting agency who had nothing but just ambition and ideas and the courage relative courage, it's not like that, we're not fighting fires, to just make stuff that could break the internet.
yeah,
Where your creativity takes on multi-dimensions. So as soon as we did that, what happens is everybody wanted to pigeonhole us as, oh, you're the viral agency, you're the gritty news agency. I'm like, no, I just want to be a smart, relevant agency. And then we did the TAP project, was the second thing we did. And that was vastly different, but the same thing. It was trying to invent something and try and change the way people look at charity and philanthropy about, if we don't have the money, how can you use your ideas? And our idea was mind-numbingly simple, which was brand tap water, which is already free, and get people to donate for something that, that people in the world don't have. And it was, for me, that's one of my favourite things. It was actually my mother's favourite thing I ever did in my career, by the way.
oh wow.
Which, she was an environmentalist, and a poet, an artist, and a Viking. And, this is when she was, for all the success I've had before, she'd go, that's nice, darling. but this one, she was like, that's what you should be doing. And, I felt good about it because it, it raised over $10 million from a standing start. But it also set a precedence that we as an industry should not, or have to use our talents to sort of move things forward. And it wasn't a fly-by-night thing, it was sort of around for like 10 years. Most endeavour, because I thought that entertainment industry needed us and we needed the entertainment industry. When I made the deal with Accenture, people in this crowd thought it was the death of creativity. I'm like, no, it's the sort of expansion of creativity. They need us and we're going to take it. I told Droga 5 when I sold the agency that we had bought Accenture. That's my attitude. I'll say about, maybe there's another through line of a lot of my work that I've been associated with through my career. Hopefully it's really true to the sort of the persona and the brand itself. And New York Times is a great example for the 7 years we did their work. Was being creative is also knowing when to be creative and when not to be creative. And nothing that we produce is going to be more impactful than what the New York Times produces. So there was no need for us to sort of try and create something more than them. We just had to create a vehicle to tell their story. So like in all the campaigns that we've done for them, every single bit of audio, every bit of type, every photograph, every video is from their archives. We just created a way to orchestrate and edit it that's very respectful and just show the craft that goes into making any headline, which is why, I love doing things that tonally are appropriate and different and all that sort of stuff. And it's, the New York Times. And I love, look, I've tried to experiment in so many different places, and when we get into song, we'll talk a lot about that as well, and some of the Droga 5 stuff, we've experimented and pushed boundaries, I'd like to think. But I'm a sucker for great film. I mean, great film is still one of the most powerful things ever. It's just a question of when and where. And great film doesn't have to be 2 minutes, it could be 6 seconds and stuff, the Under Armour stuff, some of this, I just love making beautiful things. But more importantly, I just love making things that connect with people that have depth in it.
Yeah, for sure.
And CMOs that would kick my face off if I didn't do something appropriate for Tourism Australia. But again, same thing. Genre of movies, sad to admit that in America the only thing they knew was Chocolonely, they live in Australia, so let's do something that would almost be believable, that there would be a reboot that's slightly tacky, have an American. But and again, you pick up the phone, you call actors, we never money. But they want to do stuff like this is the thing, and you see it in some of our work. Our creativity, and I mean our creativity, we're talking about 5 or song, our creativity creates these things where people want to get involved, from media budgets, and then my whole career has been trying to test limit. It doesn't mean everything great has to be weird or different or with celebrities or breaking the internet, but there has to be some sort of intentionality and with that, and a strategy in the core of it. So it was, I've liked having that sort of stuff, a lot of things. But we can't sit on the sidelines. You have to embrace it. If we don't embrace it, no one will. Because we're the people who are going to give it meaning, context, and opportunity and do some amazing things with it. And yes, the mold's going to change. But that's why I'm excited by it. You know what I mean? It's intimidating. I've got children who, my wife has a film company. I've got my eldest son graduated film school. My eldest daughter is going to film school. My youngest daughter's even more creative. I'm telling them, if you focus on the output of making stories and who gives a shit about the tools you're going to use? Don't be put off by the tools. Although they do have one brother who's a computer scientist, so I'm like, you'll pay for all the films.
All right.
Well, I'm just back after hearing David Droga speak. A packed theatre, probably unsurprising, but it is Thursday morning, so great to see so many people turning up for what really is probably one of the most inspiring creatives that this industry has seen. He won at Line when he was 19 years old, and has just built an incredible career, amazing work that they showcases you were able to hear there. So I found it fascinating just hearing him talk about, his views of creativity in this new world and how he thinks about it. So hope you enjoyed those few snippets of the amazing David Droga. Next up, I got to have a very brief conversation with Lucy Gu, who is a billionaire at the age of 30. Phenomenal story, and she has set up now passes.com, which is a creative platform for paid content. She explained it to me, what she sees as kind of lower down the funnel. So a great example, bringing it to life for me, was if you're a YouTube gamer and you're putting a load of content out there, but you want some more content that your kind of core diehard audience want to see and make it exclusive, you can use a platform like Passes. So she was explaining how already they've made some people incredibly wealthy, and her mission is to help make more people make a living out of being creators. Lucy, thanks a million for taking a minute out to chat to me. I know you were talking on the terrace stage the other day. Can you tell me a little bit about what you were telling the audience?
I was talking about the future. We're about to enter the collaboration of the decade, which is creators and AI working together.
Amazing. And you were saying to me as well that kind of, the shift in kind of how AI is going to change everything. I think we've talking a lot about that, but kind of it goes deeper, and you're kind of really at the forefront of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of the creator economy, I'm very excited for AI to really become adopted. I think there's a lot of skepticism with it because there's just skepticism in the tech industry in general, and people are scared that AI is going to take their jobs. But the reality is that it's not. It's going to be our co-pilot, and it's going to help us do our jobs better. I think that the 80% of the mundane work that we don't really want to do, AI will handle. So for example, with creator managers. Right now, most of their time is being spent finding brand deals and negotiating those brand deals for creators. In the future, what we will see is AI agents finding the brand deals and negotiating brand deals on behalf of creators. So then the managers can focus on something only humans can do, which is relationship building and pushing things across the finish line, which will allow them to, instead of manage just a handful of creators, they'll be able to manage hundreds, if not thousands.
Amazing. And I should really make sure we do this. For anyone who doesn't know Passes, I mean, how dare they? Can you tell us just a little bit about Passes and kind of what the mission is?
Yeah, so at Passes, we're building a suite of tools to help creators monetize their brand and become very large businesses. The mission is really to create generational wealth for these creators, because all creators are brands and businesses. They can sell anything to their audience. So we're able to help them turn their small businesses into large businesses through tools and fintech, etc. I really do think we can create the next billion-dollar creator.
Amazing. That's what a mission and kind of a vision to have, and kind of, I think you're coming from a place of being incredibly successful and probably could have, just lived off that, but you really kind of have a passion to help others be as successful as you've been.
Yeah, a lot of my friends are creators, and it's really exciting being able to help really everyone change their lives. Creators tell me every single day, wow, because of you guys, I was able to pay off my loan. I was able to buy a house. I'm able to reinvest into my music career, etc. And it's just heartwarming.
So along with the gang at Digital Voice, we caught up with a few people up and down the Croisette here just to get their views on what is going on here at Cannes, what they've enjoyed, what they're seeing. So first off, we have Karen Bennett, who's the US MD for Jellyfish. Then we've Sarah Vincent, Managing Director UK of Utiq, and Anders Littner, who is with brandmetrics. So let's hear what they had to say.
My goal for the team is connections. This is a moment that happens every year where an entire community, the marketing community, comes together in one space. International, global, everyone comes, and we're having real conversations, and that's what's exciting. Oftentimes, we are so busy in the day-to-day and the minutia and in platform and all the things that you forget to have those bigger conversations about what is really happening in the world, what is happening in our business. And being pulled out of that in this wonderful, beautiful place doesn't hurt. But having those real strategic conversations about what do we need to do to move your business forward? What do we need to do to help drive where your business is going and meet all of those challenges you're facing? So in terms of a lot of the hot topics, it's hard to not say AI. So I'm sure a lot of other people are talking about AI. So I'm going to pivot a bit, and something that I've been talking about a lot is retail and connectivity between retail. So I was interestingly sat in some meetings today with some of our partners, conversations yesterday at panels, and everyone is still trying to think about what does omnichannel really mean? How am I making these connections, whether that is internally what does my organization look like so that I'm ensuring I'm hitting brand to demand in a seamless way, whether that is how I work with my agencies, how my content is created, but also how am I thinking of that ecosystem and bringing things like brick and mortar. How do I start to measure what is happening with brick and mortar into that other omni-channel online experience? What's new, I think the world is in, unfortunately, a little bit of greater turmoil than maybe in past years. And there's so much uncertainty in the system. So AI is obviously a huge disruptor, but there's a lot of macroeconomic situations happening that are happening globally that are affecting our clients' business. And I think this year, for the first time, everyone is facing all of these together. These are things that are hitting everyone equally. And so everyone is having different conversations. Because again, as a community, we need to come together and say, how do I manage for all of this change? How do I manage for this uncertainty and not knowing where my business could be going because things could change so quickly?
Hi, my name is Sarah Vincent. I'm the UK MD for Utiq. The goal for me and the team this year is to get out, to see our existing partners, to make new partners, and put faces to the names of people that we talk to more online. It's also to just get a feel and vibe for what's happening in the industry, and see opportunities and make sure then when we go home, we're executing on those. In terms of hot topics, there's obviously a lot to talk about AI, but what's interesting is it's like there's a lot of sensibility around AI, which is good in some degree. That people are starting to recognise that this actually can really help the industry and help move us forward. But it's not going to take over unless we let it. So that's been obviously great to talk about. There's some really interesting conversations happening around, which I feel is like a slight change in mindset around bringing more trust and transparency to the industry. We've talked about it a lot, but it actually feels like there's actions being taken and brands are leading with this, respecting the user, recognizing if you know your customer more, if you respect them and you work with them, you actually get their longer lifetime value. So I feel like that's a bit of a new currency in a conversation that's come up. What surprised me is that there's like recognition, I think, that the industry is growing up. And we are at a time, almost like the precipice now, being able to change the way we've always done things, to do things the right way, to build a really solid foundational of a business within digital advertising, and then grow from that, but grow quicker because the foundations are right. And I think it's, over programmatic digital advertising over the last 15 years has just grown exponentially, but almost like with adding on new functionality, new technology, and it's all become quite opaque. So I feel like it's the time to kind of reset, get clean, streamline, consolidate, work with partners who add value. So it's that, and I guess the groundswell around that is surprising me, which is a really, really good thing to see. And then we hope obviously that can change the way that the business operates in the future.
I'm Anders Littner. I'm CEO and one of the founders of Brandmetrics.
Welcome.
Thank
you
you
for joining us. What is your time goal for you and the team at Brandmetrics this year?
So quite a team. I don't know exactly the size of the number of people here, but most of them are either meeting our current customer or trying to find new customers. I have a little bit of a different agenda, so I'm meeting a lot of tech companies talking about integrations. So I'm not doing the same as the rest of the team. Cannes is about ad tech. So Cannes has always been, for the past 10 years anyway, it's been two things. Inside the Palais, the creative world talks about their stuff, and then they don't really go to the same bars. Outside, there's only ad tech. And very, very rarely these two worlds collide. So, yes, for me, Cannes is ad tech. That's what it's about.
Well, next up is Kevin Freedman. As you heard on Tuesday, Kevin has been, I think he's managing his cam brilliantly. He's spending, chunks of time in different places. So we caught up with Kevin on Tuesday to see what he's seen and heard. So we're going to catch up with Kevin again now to see what's been going on in the world of Freedman International on Wednesday and today, Thursday. So looking forward to hearing what Kevin has to say. Kevin, thanks a million for joining me again and doing a roundup. This is great because you've been out and about, and I was saying earlier on, I think you manage Cannes well. You kind of go, right, I'm going to go here, going to spend like half a day and then move on. But tell me,
Well, that's only because I've learned from 3 failures of how not to do it, and I've worked it out. I'm staying in a decent place, number one, and I'm not spending my whole time going up and down and schwitzing, which is what unfortunately happens because it's so hot.
it is so hot. And I know it's like, you know, people are like, oh God, love you, poor you're in Canada, it's hot. But like stuff, while it's all really close, it's still like it can take you 20 minutes to get somewhere, and so you have to remember that. So if anyone's coming to Cannes next year, like some good advice is plan your days. Like I was doing stuff where I'd like have half an hour meeting somebody and then half an hour to get in between, and so all of a sudden 2 hours is gone, you've met 2 people. So like it's you have to kind of think about that, don't you?
Yeah. Well, the Propeller spreadsheet is the key for anyone coming.
Yes.
Propeller.
Yes. Yeah.
Like every single event on there. Obviously pre-register, but I tried to do it in blocks. It wasn't quite blocky today, but you know, morning here, afternoon there. Lunch somewhere maybe.
Yeah.
And it's manageable.
It works.
And
so listen, tell me what you've seen in the last, since we caught up on Tuesday. You've had a full day Wednesday, full day Thursday. Feels like about 8 weeks.
Yeah, so after over the last 2 weeks. It's really interesting actually, because I obviously go to events that I thought would be interesting for me. There was stuff around performance marketing, brand marketing, AI, and it's all come down to 3 areas actually.
Okay.
You know, that's across probably a dozen different talks. So there's the brand versus performance, or as the guy from IPA, Lawrence Green, said, it's not really performance because brand does perform.
Yes, yeah.
The performance guys, who are the tech guys, have hijacked the word performance. It's brand versus activation.
Yeah.
So that's one area I want to talk about.
Somebody said like performance marketing was the great act of branding by people in that, in that industry.
They actually completely hijacked it. Yeah. They completely hijacked it. And the talk I went to actually, I think it was probably yesterday, it was put on by Adweek.
Okay.
And it was a whole load of ad tech companies, brands using ad tech for performance marketing.
Okay.
Incredible. What they basically said was, retargeting doesn't work.
Really?
Because we're not just a demographic, are we?
Yeah.
We've all had this ad that chases us around the internet for something that we either had already bought, decided not to buy, or don't like the brand anyway. And it chases us.
Yeah, it does chase us.
It chases us. So the retargeting, which we're all paying for, doesn't work. They reckon that the dynamic creative optimization, which is obviously sold to be like amazing, just changing a headline or a CTA doesn't make someone change their preference for your brand.
Right. Yeah. So you have to do the brand stuff.
Now they're going all in on contextual performance targeting. So basically, if I'm browsing a travel website, presumably I'm interested in travel, so they're going to serve me that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really, really interesting. But why it was so interesting was that then I was at a completely different talk. And this was someone at PepsiCo.
Oh, right. Okay.
Joseph Hernandez. He's Senior Director of Media and Connections at PepsiCo.
Okay. He'll know a thing or two.
He knows a hell of a... What he's saying is, with all this AI content, it's going to hurt brands.
Right.
70% of the content out there now and more in the future is going to be synthetic.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're not careful, that cookie cutter approach is going to damage your brand.
Yeah. Right, okay.
So you've got to be really, really careful. Another talk at Female Quotient.
Oh, yeah. I'd hoped to go and I haven't been able to.
It's amazing up there. They've got really, really good speakers on. So this was VP of Global Marketing and Media at Procter & Gamble. Okay. Eric Austin.
Okay.
Senior guy. You know, P&G, one of the world's best marketers, obviously massive multi-billion-dollar brands. They are shifting back to brand marketing.
Okay. Okay, right.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So, you know, the guys who sell the targeting technology are saying actually retargeting doesn't work. The DCO doesn't work. The IPO have proven actually you're putting 60% of your money into brand and only 40% into activation or performance. But it's mostly the other way.
Oh, 100, or if not worse.
If not worse. So
yeah.
It's very, and I think with the AI-driven content that's coming everywhere, brand is certainly so critical. Yeah. So that was one sort of.
As you're talking about that, I passed by a rehearsal for a talk. I didn't get to see the talk, but I saw the rehearsal, and oh my god, the name of the brand escapes me now. But what they're able to do is you're able to put up like your idea like into their platform Springboard.
Oh yeah,
and
Springboard.
you can go in and you can write, we want to do this, and it'll create a storyboard for you. So it's not, and I was like, oh, does it go create the ad? And they're like, no. This is the stage. This is ideation stage, where you want to go create a storyboard. So sorry, just as you were talking about that, it reminded me of that today. Just really clever way of, because sometimes the thing you need to do is bring something to life
100%.
in your company, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not negative on Gen AI at all. No, you've got to use the tools, but what you can't do is ignore the importance of your brand. Use the tools to build your brand. Don't just think some cookie cutter content is going to do anything.
I know, and I completely agree with you. And I think those tools can allow you actually create something that has, what's the great two words someone said to me, creative with stopping power.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's not
100%. That's exactly what you need. It's got to make you feel something.
Yeah. Go. Oh wow,
that's really good. So then, that was one sort of theme that kept popping up. The importance of the brand versus the performance of activation. Then, of course, I've been diving deep into AI.
Yeah.
Last year it was all about generative AI. What we can do, we can create stuff with this AI. Now it's all about agentic AI.
Yeah.
Agents.
Yeah.
Again, because the big tech companies, Salesforce and the Googles, are pushing agents. Went to a fascinating couple of talks actually. There was Senior Director of Marketing, Activation and Tech and Digital Global at Reckitt.
Oh yeah.
Teresa Fusaro, very impressive lady, knows a hell of a lot. Gave us an example of how they're using agentic AI in the business. In China, they got these shopping channels, live stream shopping channels. Someone's obviously standing up 24 hours a day, they're going, selling these products like QVC.
Okay.
They've created the digital twin.
Right.
AI.
Yeah.
And it now does the selling 24/7. Better. Yeah. It
So
knows all the facts, the figures. It knows how to say stuff. It's completely eloquent. And
it's amazing, and it is going to...
I mean, that's the beginning.
Yeah, isn't it?
That is the beginning. And then I went to a very badly attended but amazing talk. There was only about 3 people in the crowd. They had the VP of Google Cloud. They had Stephen Pretorius, who is the CTO at WPP.
Okay.
And they had CMO at Bell, Cheeses, Borsan, those sort of guys, talking about AI. And really the lesson for me there was, number one, it starts with identifying use cases. If you're going to put in agents, what are the use cases? Which is relatively easy. The second bit is actually you've got to build your data sets. It gets harder.
The
third bit, which is really, really hard, is getting people on board, finding people who are enthusiastic about this AI.
Right.
I am an AI optimist.
Yeah.
We've got to lean in.
Oh, 100%.
We've got to lean in. We've got to automate the stuff that can be automated, and that gives the freedom to do exciting things, develop new services, develop new products, innovate in a new way. And that's going to be critical for every business.
100%. And I've heard, definitely hear that a lot of people, and it'd be interesting, the agents piece, I think, I've heard it a few times as well. As you say, last year was Gen AI, now we're hearing about agents. What's it going to be next year? Honest to God.
I think what's also worth noting is some of the companies, the big guys, the Cokes and the Reckitts, are obviously investing very, very fast, and they're, let's say, I wouldn't say they're mature, but they're advanced. Mm-hmm. But they are the few.
Right.
Most brands are just starting. They're unsure about the ethics, the privacy of it all, the impact on the workforce. Does it align with their ethics and their values? So even if you're not done anything yet as a brand, you're not behind.
No,
because the vast majority of brands haven't even started.
And I was saying to you, I was up at Canva, and I caught the end of one of the talks there, and there was a CMO on the panel who said a friend of hers is a CFO or in finance somewhere, and was saying, I'm using AI. I'm putting in our company data to do analysis, and she was like, have you got an enterprise tool? And she's like, no, just, and she goes, don't do that. So, but it's really interesting because there's, you can understand nervousness. Do you know what I mean? You can understand companies being,
100%.
We have to be careful, this is information, but then that's where, the enterprise solutions come in, because they are,
ring fenced.
gated and
Apparently,
exactly.
Apparently, though,
I'm gonna trust them.
they're apparently ring fenced, but I actually don't believe it.
Yeah, but like, you know, they'll get you somewhere.
They'll get you somewhere. But I think, you know, companies need to lean in, but I think also staff, you know, and team members, you're gonna have to get on board with AI 100%.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, someone who has is going to take your job.
Right.
They're, you know, I've got 2 young daughters. There are going to be loads of new jobs created in the economies.
Yeah.
There may not be the old jobs. There may be the new
definitely.
jobs.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You've got to be positive.
100%.
The third area, actually, which again came from 2 different talks that was so interesting, was about importance of being purpose-driven.
Okay.
In your marketing. I know purpose hasn't had a big shout this year.
Yeah.
So there was the chief brand officer at Tony's Chocolonely.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tony's Chocolonely.
Yeah.
Do you love the chocolate or do you love
I
the
love
brand?
all of it.
Well, it's a 20-year-old brand.
Yeah.
Dutch. About $200 million.
Yeah.
Always been driven by its purpose, which actually I didn't know, although I love eating their chocolate. So there is a problem they've got in terms of educating.
That is interesting.
I didn't know what it was, but it was set up by 3 investigative journalists who were really distressed actually by the amount of child labour and exploitation in the cocoa supply chain.
Yeah.
And nothing was done about it by the big chocolate companies, so they set their own company up, Tony's, and their purpose is to drive out the inequality in that supply chain.
Yeah.
So if you ever have a Tony's chocolate bar, it's very hard to cut it up, isn't it?
Yeah. Because it's to represent the inequality. Yeah.
It's supposed to represent the inequality. They produce advent calendars.
Yeah.
At Christmas. Have you ever had one?
I've never had one actually.
Okay.
No.
Well, if you do get one or get one for the kids, obviously normally each of those windows you open up, you get a chocolate or something. In their calendar, when you open one of the windows, there's no chocolate.
Okay. That's clever.
To represent the fact that some people haven't got anything or haven't got a chocolate today. The next day you get 2 chocolates.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you do
Very
get the
good.
2 chocolates, but isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting.
And they're not into paid media campaigns. You know, theirs is all about purpose-driven. The other one, which was saying the same sort of stuff, which I really loved, was again at Female Quotient, the CMO at Strava.
Right, yes.
Talking.
Okay.
Now, Strava have got this fitness app.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going on runs, you're doing cycling, you're going to record your activity, and they've got channels where you can upload your stats and talk to your friends' community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to sell advertising on the platform.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. It's a community. They've got 150 million active, people on that platform. What they've done, they've changed their algorithm. Most algorithms are written to drive attention. So the more a piece of content gets likes and views, the more you're going to see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is sort of this echo chamber of negative stuff. They've changed because their purpose is to get people active.
Right.
Their algorithm serves up content from people who are more active
than you. Is it?
Not more active than you, but the more active people's content gets served. Not the most popular content.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
And because it aligns with their purpose.
Brilliant. So clever.
That is right. In today's sort of echo chamber with a lot of negative content getting floated out into the metasphere.
Yeah.
Have companies that really stand behind their purpose. I think it's fantastic.
It is interesting, and because you're right. Like purpose was the big thing. It definitely got bashed, I think, because a lot of companies leaned into it unauthentically.
Yes,
I think
100%.
Tony's is a wonderful example of a company that was, as you have said here, like it was started for a reason. It was started with trying to better the lives of cocoa makers. And actually what Tony's do brilliantly as well is they kind of, open source is the wrong word, but like their process to make it better, they'll share with anybody.
Yeah.
They're like, we will give that to anybody because we want what's best. We
want to cause the change. We want to make the change.
Want to make the change, yeah. So they're like, join us.
Yeah.
And do what we're doing, and they call out some of the big guns, Yeah. So it's it's interesting. But it's really good kind of to see that. But what an amazing
and the
array
final
of
one
things.
I want to share is the Walmart one. So I mean, I went on the Canva Cabana stand. I haven't used the Canva software. I'm aware of it. I know you guys use it. And they had a case study that Walmart has rebranded, come up with a new campaign, which is called Walmart Who Knew.
Yeah.
Look up the adverts on YouTube. They're really, really funny. Walmart is a massive e-commerce brand. They've got 500 million products for sale on their platform. Next day delivery.
Next day is insane.
Next day delivery, okay? Including saunas.
Of course.
So anyway, they've done this massive rebrand. They've got loads and loads of merchandise and kits. And of course, Walmart has got a lot of teams, in North America who need to use that brand daily for various in-store things.
Yeah.
It's all put into the Canva platform. And the Canva platform controls the brand. Very, very good.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not selling Canva. I get nothing
do you know
for
what?
it, but just as an easy to use, controllable piece of tech for non-professionals.
It's amazing. I talk about it a lot, and it's the same. Like there's no Canva code here, for 10% off. Yeah. But it is a great tool, and it it simplifies those things, and again, it gives control. So if you're in a store in middle of America or whatever, I couldn't think of any random American city, but like there, and you need to previously submit a ticket, get head office to do something, send it back. Now you can actually do what you need.
It's on brand.
And it's on brand,
really easy to use, and they can make whatever they need to make, baseball caps and bags and
exactly, it's
and
amazing.
And so I thought that was and the advert is fantastic.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah. That was it. That's my takeaways.
Well, listen, thanks so much. Really, really appreciate it. It's great to kind of get your input as you've gone around and seen so much that I didn't get to see. So thanks. Yeah. Thanks so much, and appreciate your support of this. We wouldn't be here without Freedman International.
Fantastic.
So anyone who needs the best in the business for your localization, transcreation needs, these are the guys to check out.
International campaigns, we're the guys.
That's it.
But Connor, thank you so much for inviting me on.
It's been brilliant. And we'll do something, myself and Kevin are going to catch up probably later in the summer, later in the year, and just kind of have some deeper conversations about international campaigns, because it's something we both care weirdly deeply about. Like it's because I've been there, but I've been there and I've seen the pain of it. And I actually was talking to somebody. I actually can't remember if I have it recorded or not. But I was talking to somebody about the work that your team did for me when we were trying to figure out Mexico and Spain.
Emerging markets.
And it was amazing, because what we were trying to do was, the brief was, I won't give the full brief, but it was around something like fly us in.
Yeah.
Right? We're not there. We'd nobody on the ground in Mexico or Spain. Like, I've been to holidays in Spain, but I don't know enough about the market. And your team were amazing at able to just give us a full picture of everything that was going on, from economic, socioeconomic, culture. Like the cultural stuff was so good, and it really helped us. And even then, to business decisions we were able to make. I remember in Spain we were like, actually we need to focus in different areas than we planned. So it was I think that's maybe the thing. Some people think that it's one thing, but actually there's so much more.
That when you get into a culture, when you get into a market, I mean, it's deep, it's rich, there's depth there. And how do you create something that's going to really resonate and have impact in different markets?
Yes, exactly. And having the integrity of the brand there. Do you know what I mean? So you've done it for the biggest and the best. So
100%. We'll do many more.
Brilliant. Listen, thanks a million, Kevin.
Absolute pleasure.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you,
Thanks a million. Well, that is it for the Cannes Sessions 2025. I've come down here to the terrace. This is where every night all the delegates have come to have a few drinks, a happy hour, and this is the first time I've come down to check it out. So it is pretty lively down here. And tomorrow morning, this is where the young lions will be getting their awards. I really hope, I'm flying home tomorrow, but I hope I can get down here and see how the Irish lions get on tomorrow morning. So fingers crossed for all of them. They're all finished, so I hope they enjoy their night tonight. So listen, from me, Conor Byrne, thank you so much for tuning into the Cannes Sessions. I have loads more content coming out of Cannes, so people I've interviewed here over the last week, and also people I've met who I'm going to be doing follow-up interviews with during the summer and into the rest of the year. So lots of exciting content coming your way, and massive thank you to Freedman International for their partnership. They really are such an amazing group to work with. all back home, and Kevin here on the ground, just been absolutely amazing. And hopefully myself and Kevin were talking about doing some exciting things together later on in the year, so we'll keep you updated on that as well. So from me, your host Conor Byrne, I think there's only one thing really to do, and that is to open myself up a can of lager and get this edit done. Take care. Thanks for tuning in to That's What I Call Marketing, the Cannes Sessions. Brought to you by Freedman International, the international campaign experts taking the pain out of your multi-market campaigns.